agenda really is only about one thing. I have 7 children and 23 grandchildren, and I care very much that we will be able to carry on and even create a new tradition for my grandchildren. About 2007, I was general manager at Elm Fork Shooting Sports, working for my son for about 10 years. And in 2007, we had a charity benefit, which I did a lot, for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Big Brothers Big Sisters, you know, is a pretty incredible organization. But they call them the bigs and littles. You know, the bigs are the adults and the littles are the kids. So I was asked if I would do a benefit for the littles. So I thought, you know, these are inner city kids and they don't get to do much outside. So we had archery set up and of course shotgun, and one of the lab trainers brought a litter of lab puppies, and there's nothing cuter in the whole wide world than 6-week-old puppies and itty bitty teeny tiny puppy dummies, because they'll retrieve even though they're only 6 weeks old. And we cooked them hot dogs. It was just a great day. And my part educationally was to teach them clay target shooting. So the littles got off the bus, and they were 8 inner city African American boys, and they were all at least a foot taller than I was. And that, I remember thinking as they got off the bus, oh gosh, you know, these kids come from a different place and a different world. Anyway, but when it was time for me to take them out to shoot shotguns, that's when my vision began to open. These kids were so good at it, and they were athletes, and so it was very easy for me to make the transition, because as you're going to learn today, shotgun shooting is simply a game played with lots of little balls instead of one ball. And those boys were amazing. So after it was over, we went back to the pavilion to have hot dogs, and one of these boys walked up and looked down at me, and he said, "Mama Jeanie, I was really good at that, wasn't I?" And I said, "Honey, you were really good at that." I saw the transition. Those boys went from thinking of a shotgun as a weapon to a piece of sporting equipment that they could use outside to accomplish something and do something well. So I called and said, "Shell, I don't know how to do this, but I need a nonprofit foundation so that I never have to turn a child away because they can't afford it." And so that was in 2007, and we formed the Youth Target Foundation, and the rest is kind of history. Over the last several years, we've worked extensively with the youth programs all over the state. That would be FFA, 4-H, the Scholastic Clay Target Foundation and program, also Texas Parks and Wildlife, any of the organizations that had a philanthropic interest in teaching young people how to safely handle firearms, and that transitions into the great things that we can do. You're going to have the opportunity to make miracles, and here's how it goes. In the state of Texas, if you don't play football, baseball, basketball, or some other sport, it's tough if you're a boy. So we get the young man whose shoulders are stooped and kind of has long stringy hair, and he can't make eye contact. So mom hears about this shooting program, and so on the Saturday morning, you know, we meet and we visit just a little bit, and then the young person and my teaching team, we go spend some time together. And at that point, we have the opportunity to teach safety and basics. And then it's time to go outside so they can actually have the opportunity to see how quickly they can become successful. You'll get the opportunity to visit with Sean some today. Sean McClellan, actually, he grew up shooting, started when he was about 14. He went to college on a full scholarship. He has traveled all over the world, and he is an Olympian. Those are great things. You know, maybe 2% of the athletes that play those sports in high schools in the state of Texas actually really get to play. But this sport, nobody sits on the bench. Everybody shoots. And so by the second or third week with this young man, he's standing up, he's squared his shoulders, he's cut his hair, he can shake your hand and make eye contact. And then you know that you've done a great thing. As a woman, I work to keep things very simple. And for the dads in here, I want you to know that what I tell you, I promise you, is the truth. The difficulty is, if you have been shooting for many years, you might be really good at it. But the hardest part is to be able to translate the language. Because basically you speak shotgun French. But you're going to have to translate French into Spanish because the new kids coming in speak Spanish, but they don't understand French. So the real instructor, the really good coach, is that person who has the ability to interpret the language. And that's what I care about.